Hello, learners! Welcome to our public speaking class. In this session, we're practicing our speaking skills by exploring tips from the first chapter of the book titled The Art of Public Speaking by Berg, Esenwein, and Dale Carnegie. The link to the book from Project Gutenberg will be available below in the description. I encourage you to explore it on your own. This class is divided into 3 parts. First, we're going to read the chapter and discuss the key tips for public speaking that we can apply later on. Second, let's engage in practice by examining various public speaking prompts. We're using the tips that we learned from the reading to create and present our first speech. Lastly, we're going to conduct a review of the points we gathered from the reading material and conclude the class. If you're ready to begin, let's go straight into the first section. I'll be reading the text out loud, and you have the option to listen or pause the video if you prefer to read at your own pace. Chapter 1: Acquiring Confidence Before an Audience. Students of public speaking continually ask, how can I overcome self-consciousness and the fear that paralyzes me before an audience? A book may give you excellent suggestions on how best to conduct yourself in the water, but sooner or later you must get wet. Perhaps even strangle and be half scared to death. To plunge is the only way. Practice, 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 and speaking before an audience will tend to remove all fear of audiences. You must learn to speak by speaking. Be absorbed by your subject. If you feel deeply about your subject, you will be able to think of little else. Concentration is a process of distraction from less important matters. It is too late to think about the cut of your coat when once you're upon the platform. So center your interest on what you're about to say. Fill your mind with your speech material, and, like the infilling water in the glass, it will drive out your insubstantial fears. Self-consciousness is undue consciousness of self. And for the purpose of delivery, self is secondary to your subject. Not only in the opinion of the audience, but, if you are wise, in your own. To hold any other view is to regard yourself as an exhibit instead of as a messenger with a message worth delivering. Have something to say. The trouble with many speakers is that they go before an audience with their minds blank. It is no wonder that nature, abhorring a vacuum, fills them with the nearest thing handy, which generally happens to be, I wonder if I'm doing this right. How does my hair look? I know I shall fail. Their prophetic souls are sure to be right. It is not enough to be absorbed by your subject. To acquire self-confidence, you must have something to say in which to be confident. If you go before an audience without any preparation or previous knowledge of your subject, you ought to be self-conscious. You ought to be ashamed to steal time of your audience. Prepare yourself. Know what you're going to talk about, and in general, how you're going to say it. Have the first few sentences worked out completely, so that you may not be troubled in the beginning to find words. Know your subject better than your hearers know it, and you have nothing to fear. Let your bearing be modestly confident, but most of all, be modestly confident within. Overconfidence is bad, but to tolerate premonitions of failure is worse. For a bold man may win attention by his very bearing, while a rabbit-hearted coward invites disaster. Humility is not the personal discount that we must offer in the presence of others. Against this old interpretation, there has been a most healthy modern reaction. True humility, any man who thoroughly knows himself must feel. But it is not humility that assumes a worm like meekness. It is a strong, vibrant prayer for greater power for service. If you believe you will fail, there's no hope for you. You will. All things are ready if the mind be so. Assume mastery over your audience. In public speech, as in electricity, there is a positive and a negative force. Either you or your audience is going to possess the positive factor. If you assume it, you can almost invariably make it yours. If you assume the negative, you're sure to be negative. Remember that though your audience is infinitely more important than you, the truth is more important than both of you, because it is eternal. Reflect that your audience will not hurt you. In facing your audience, pause a moment and look them over. 100 chances to 1 they want you to succeed. For what a man is so foolish as to spend his time, perhaps his money, in the hope that you will waste his investment by talking dully. Concluding hints. Do not make haste to begin. Haste shows lack of control. Do not apologize. It ought not to be necessary, and if it is, it will not help. Go straight ahead. Take a deep breath, relax, and begin in a quiet conversational tone as though you were speaking to one large friend. You will not find it half so bad as you imagine. Really, it is like taking a cold plunge. After you are in, the water is fine. In fact, having spoken a few times, you will even anticipate the plunge with exhilaration. To stand before an audience and make them think your thoughts after you is one of the greatest pleasures you can ever know. Now that we've finished reviewing the material, let's move on to the next section. We need to examine the questions and the exercises provided in the book, and we can use them as prompts for our first speech. I believe this is a great opportunity to reflect on what we've learned and also apply the tips that we've just reviewed. Let's structure our speech by composing it in written form first, and then we can practice delivering it out loud. You may also choose whether in front of a mirror, in front of a camera, a friend, or a family member. It's up to you. It's better to do this so that we can track our progress as we go through this book. Some of the prompts that I chose are: number 1, what is the cause of self-consciousness? Number 2, what effect does confidence on the part of the speaker have on the audience? 3, what experience have you had involving the teachings of this chapter? 4, write out a speech on confidence and cowardice. And number 5, give a 3-minute talk on stage fright, including, kindly, imitation of 2 or more victims. I'll be providing an example of the 4th prompt and also practice delivering my first speech. Again, feel free to write your own output below and share it with the rest of your classmates. On confidence and cowardice. Confidence and cowardice are 2 sides of the same coin. Yet they shape our lives in different ways. One lifts us up and fuels our growth, while the other holds us back and keeps us from realizing our true potential. Have you ever uttered to yourself, "I can handle this," or "I'll manage"? That is confidence. It's the feeling that travels from your gut to your mind, even when you're on the verge of spiraling into pieces. It's never about being fearless. It's about trusting ourselves to navigate uncertainty, to welcome mistakes, and to embrace the journey with open arms, even when the path isn't clear. Cowardice, on the other hand, traps us with, what if I fail? Or what will others think? It causes hesitation and doubt, preventing us from trying. It may involve avoiding physical danger or evading emotional risks, fear of judgment, and the never ending need to find the definition of enough in our names and the work we do. I believe that the cause of cowardice affects everyone. Reflect on times you stayed silent or abandoned dreams. I'm certain it impacts you and those around you who could benefit from your courage. Building confidence is not a linear path. We must start with self awareness, recognize when fear holds us back and whether it's rational, take action with small, achievable goals, and celebrate our progress. Surround ourselves with uplifting people and remember that errors are what give artwork texture. So, next time you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself, will I let cowardice hold me back? Or will I let confidence guide me forward? The choice is definitely yours, and the world needs your voice. Congratulations on completing this part. I hope you enjoyed giving your speech and feel proud of your work today. It doesn't have to be perfect. As we continue in the next few lessons, we will focus on refining and addressing specific areas for improvement in our overall speaking skills. For now, it's important to take plunge and start. We're almost at the end of the lesson. The only thing left to do is to summarize what we've learned today. When giving a public speech, we need to consider a few things. Be absorbed by the subject. If we feel deeply about our subject, we will be able to think of little else. Concentration is a process of distraction from less important matters. We also learn to have something to say. It's not enough to be absorbed by our subject, and to acquire self confidence, we need to have something in which to be confident. We need to prepare thoroughly and know what and how we're going to present our topic. After preparing for success, we need to expect it. If we believe we will fail, then there's no hope for us. We will. We need to maintain a humble yet confident demeanor, and most importantly, we need to cultivate inner confidence. Overconfidence can be bad, but allowing thoughts of failure to fester is even worse. Lastly, we learned that we need to assume mastery over our audience. There are positive and negative forces in public speaking similar to electricity. Either we or our audience will have the positive energy. If we embrace it, we can make it ours. If we adapt a negative stance, most likely it will be negative. And we need to remember that our audience will not hurt us. They want us to succeed. And there we have it. Thank you so much for your time and effort in this class. I sincerely hope you found the lesson helpful and enjoyed our first practice today. Let me know your thoughts about the chapter that we read. Also, if you have any questions or any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's always open for input. This is the end of the session for now, but I look forward to seeing you next time. Please have a wonderful day and always take care.